ask him another question. I'm about to remove his microphone, and he said, no, you asked me another question.
Oh. Had it already been an hour and a half?
Yeah, and I said, no. And then...
What were the questions?
Oh, I can't remember anymore. I forget once I ask you.
Well, he goes into so many subjects on each question.
I know. I think it was something to do with ordinariness. Or Messiah and ordinariness, something about ordinariness. I mean, I would have to look my notes again.
How do you look? Anytime. Oh, I need a level.
But you should know, we have
1,
done
2,
this
3,
for
4,
13
5.
years.
Okay.
13 years, that every day we would speak next day. Boy, you should have heard Bhagwan last time. It's constant.
I understand you're filling the temple. What I always refer to as Buddha Hall.
Rajneesh Mandir.
Rajneesh Mandir.
You mean we're putting a concrete...
Filling at 6 o'clock.
Oh, yes. This city is dead at 6 o'clock. It's absolutely dead. When I go to see Bhagwan around 6:30, 6:45, between that time, I leave a house, so I'm not late for the discourse myself, which I have tendency to be. And it's deserted, this land. It's all in Rajneesh Mandir.
Let me tell you what we're up to this time.
Mm-hmm.
We're about, I guess, 2-3 weeks ago, we put a documentary on an hour. A half hour was produced from old stories.
Oh, I saw that. This is the one where KD was on?
Yeah.
I saw the film on it, yeah.
What we're doing is we're going to play it again
Uh-huh.
because a lot has happened, and I think a lot of people's perspective
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on up here may have changed in the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly you told us things that may have changed perspective.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, I want to back up, and I want to talk about some of the basic things that people have been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'd like to start is a thing I saw on Northwest Illustrated. It was a man who was interviewed there who suggested looking at what's happening up here as part of a political movement. That for a while there were political aspirations voiced by people who were intending to run for the county commission.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people here are involved in city politics. They're involved in politics at Rajneesh. The suggestion was that perhaps now's the time to start thinking of you as a voting bloc, as dealing with you as a political entity, sort of a political action committee or an organized political party. Is that fair? Do you think that's...
No, it's not fair at all.
Why not?
Because simply we are not political people. Our base, our understanding is of religion, not of politics. And if somebody is participating in local government or something like this, again, it's individual participating and out of necessity. It has nothing to do as Rajneeshi, a collective body.
Realistically, though, you're going to have to be involved in politics. It is inconceivable to me that you won't be sending candidates to run in the Wasco County, for the Wasco County Commission in 2 years. If the city maintains the population it's got now, it's a good chance you'll have representation there. And without that representation, you're at a tremendous disadvantage.
I agree that if we didn't have our own representation, that we're going to be always persecuted. Because I see the persecution very strong around here. But we don't function out of motive. We have never functioned out of motive. And I don't believe that if Rajneeshis are secured with their self-government on a local level here, that they have any interest anywhere else. I know that city is emptied out these days. As Bhagwan starts speaking, everybody is gathered at Rajneesh Mandir to listen to him for their inner growth. They have no aspiration for going out. Their only aspiration is with their own life, with their own selves. And if we wanted to be a political body, from the very start we would have chosen a place like Sherman County. The population is only 800. We could have invited Rajneeshis from all over America, and we would have more than majority here. More than majority. And to invite 15,000, 20,000 people is no joke for. I mean, you know, we do it as a matter of eye blink. We can do it very easily and adequately and provide people adequate facility too. But that's never been our purpose.
If I was to ask you what your purpose is at this time, what would you say?
Again, my purpose is to live with a living master, Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, harmoniously with his people around here, and live a very beautiful, rich life which we have here.
In order to, there was talk, I know, some months ago about being on the verge of a civil war between Rajneeshis and the rest of Wasco County. I think it was something KD said, that there was that potential. To achieve some sort of a compromise, to achieve a settlement, to work out some way where both sides, the tensions are calmed, what has to be done?
I think people have to learn to look at Rajneeshi for what they are, without placing the motives, without placing the burden of the past that they have carried on themselves, dumping it onto Rajneeshis. They have to look at it that Rajneeshi is a new phenomenon, very rare one to come across, and never before in the world intellectuals have gathered together and created an oasis in the desert. And if they looked at it, understood it, I don't think they would have any problem. Rajneeshis are not harmful people. They have no interest in anybody else except for themselves. And what they have done, they have always said that we want to create an oasis in the desert. I'm sure you remember this from my past interviews with you.
Quite often, your opposition invokes the name of Antelope and says that what happened in Antelope is what they're frightened of. They're simply frightened of losing their way of life.
I would say let them go a step before Antelope, which is the gross behavior of Thousand Friends of Oregon, gross behavior of Margaret Hill. On one hand, she is writing to all of the politicians saying, get Rajneeshis out of here. And on the other hand, she is selling me a house of her friend. This woman is not honest. She's a hypocrite. She wants her friends to make money off of Rajneeshi. On the other hand, she wants to exercise her bigotry by writing to various politicians. And she doesn't stop at that point with the bigotry, but she herself as a mayor takes it upon herself to persecute Rajneeshis. She supports Thousand Friends of Oregon on one hand. On the other hand, she's signing an agreement with Rajneeshi saying that she has nothing against Rajneeshi.
Is it possible to say that, well, it's inevitable that the Rajneeshis will take over Wasco County? That if your growth continues at the same rate, obviously you're going to have the representation.
Look
the
at
county
it.
Is yours.
Rajneeshi were to have a majority. It is question of few minutes. Just few of us have to get on the telephone and request people to come here, and they would be here. One word and they would be here. But that's not our intention. It has never been our intention. We had no interest in Antelope, which is now city of Rajneesh, before. We were pushed by the political system, by the social system, for our own survival to remain there. Because Thousand Friends of Oregon said, hey, you can only develop an area which is urbanized already. Now, if you call city of Rajneesh an urbanized place, I mean, let's not joke. It's a laughing stock at that point. City of Rajneeshpuram has far better public facilities than city of Rajneesh has. We have a sewer system, water system, electrical supply. We put in a brand new telephone system here. I mean, this is a city. City of Rajneesh was only a ghost town before. Now it's getting a life back.
I guess I didn't express my question right. Assuming that everything goes through, Rajneeshpuram is accepted as a city, that the current growth patterns continue, in another 2 years, you may be the bulk of Wasco County. You'll certainly be, the people will be registering next time. There'll be no hearings next time. And that the
I don't
potential will
believe
be-
that. I hear that the hearings are still in action for Rajneeshi.
That'd be a big surprise, I think, to an awful lot of people if they,
No, this is correct.
people lived here for, say, 2 years and then were.
I know Swami Krishnadeva, mayor of Rajneeshpuram, had just changed his address and he was disqualified as a voter. And I know he told me yesterday, he said he had just spoken to Sue Prophet. And they first transferred her to Norma Paulus. Norma Paulus called back a day later and said, you have to go back to Sue Prophet. And then Sue Prophet says to him that you're under same scrutiny. Now Krishnadeva has been here from day one. And to question his motive, whose stupidity are you going to show? Norma Policies or Sue Prophet's? It's absurd.
In the growth of the city, would you regard yourself as ahead or behind schedule?
We are always ahead. We are always ahead.
What can, there was a time when people were saying that there'd be 2,000 people here in the year 2000. What do you think it's going to be like here in 1990?
John, only thing I can say that Bhagwan teaches us to live life moment to moment. And I can say this moment we have few thousand people living here. What will be tomorrow? I have no idea.
Are you in any financial trouble? We keep hearing rumors that there are cash flow problems here. That
Didn't you hear the same rumors last year, same rumors year before
I haven't
last?
heard as many rumors as I've heard lately.
Well, just as we expand, the rumors expand too with it.
There is no financial problem at this time?
None that I know. I had very beautiful breakfast this morning. I know I'm expecting a decent lunch this afternoon and a nice dinner this evening.
But nobody's going to come knocking on the door with a foreclosure notice at...
Not that I know of it.
How are things working out here? I remember one of the things that stood out in a speech you made, in my mind, last July, was the call for unity and positivity and a lack of conflict among the people working here, living here at Rajneeshpuram. Have you been able to hold that up? I think
Absolutely, it's the same. This is a remembrance that I would give everyone at any time, whether last July or this July or now. It is something that people need to learn, that we need to remain united. If you are fragmented, the unity within the community will not exist. So actually, again, it comes down to the individual that please don't be fragmented. And people are split. I mean, I'm not saying Rajneeshis are split in any way. People are split no matter where you go. This is why you have so many wars in the world, because they don't know how to become one whole person. And this is Bhagwan's religious teaching, that you become whole person, whole individual.
Wasn't there a talk you had to make about negativism within the community at the time the homeless had arrived?
No, not that I recall.
That Bhagwan had been driving by in the car and he'd seen signs of negativism?
Oh, if he sees it, and if I'm drawn attention, then I'll draw attention back to the people.
What was the problem that time?
Just few people weren't comfortable with the situation. And they didn't know how to deal with it. And basically it was their past coming on to them, that they have never dealt with these people in their lifetime, and now they have to live among them. And once I explained to them, it was fine, there's no problem. People here are very willing to listen and ready to understand.
If the numbers I got are right, there were something like 4,700 homeless that came to the ranch.
It's possible. I still haven't reviewed final numbers
Now
myself.
there's about, I think, 2,300. So more than half of them have left. Why? Why didn't they work out?
Again, you have to understand, what numbers are here now do not reflect the project. The project was created to provide an environment to unfortunate people where they could come and change their habits, remain here, enjoy themselves, and don't get into the pressure that exists in the outside world, therefore become victims of circumstances. I would say anybody who even made an effort to come and see this place, the seed has been planted in their soul that you too can live a life of individuals who are crime-free, drug-free, violence-free. And I think we have been successful 100%. If somebody stayed here for 1 hour, the seed for that time has been planted. If somebody stayed for 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, or now, or may live in few months coming, each one has received accordingly, and it's going to be a point of transformation.
The 2,300 people who remain here now, how much longer will they stay?
Again, it's individual. If they accept the life which is offered here and don't get into the old habit, they can stay here for eternity.
Do you expect most of them to stay?
I don't even expect all Rajneeshis to stay here. And I'm sure you have heard about some Rajneeshis leaving from this ranch. We tell some Rajneeshis to leave, that they are not fitting into the community here. And we have a long waiting list of Rajneeshis from all over America and the world to come and stay here too.
I don't know, you haven't seen the Rajneesh Times, but there's an editorial in there about what journalists are missing in covering this story here. What is it that you think, in your perception of how we do this story, that we're not doing well or doing right?
One thing that I see, that journalists always come to find something wrong. And I know Bhagwan recently told me this beautiful story. It's like a philosopher. Blind philosopher is in a dark house on a dark night, trying to find a black cat, and never finds it because it doesn't exist. But he says journalists will always find the black cat. Whether it exists or not, they'll find it. And I think it's basically that they come with a fantasy. And no matter what they come with it. They're trying to locate it. And for that, if they have to become nasty, obnoxious, they will. Because they think they're journalists, they have been given world's power to poke into anybody's life. And Rajneeshis don't care. You want to display a fantasy of your own mind? Good, go ahead and display that. If you want to play what's in reality here, you can do that. I mean, I can give you a few reporters that I know personally I have dealt with. One is Jim Hyde from Channel 2. Now this man has seen this ranch from day one to today. And if you look at his shows from day one to now, they're pretty schizophrenic. And you can see that somebody from the top is pressuring him for whatever purposes, and then he changes his style of show, and he actually sells his soul in between. And you can see that Jim Hyde, when he has to do a bad show on Rajneeshis, he looks hurt, he looks pained. Now, a person like me who sees people thousands in a day, and I just have to pick up people from their looks and the feel and how they feel, I can tell this man is troubled.
Where do you think the pressure comes from that Hyde faces?
I would suppose fundamental Christians who may be sitting on his board, who may be the people who may be paying for his life. But Rajneeshis don't have that problem.
I asked about journalists. Do you see a time when Oregonians' perception of Rajneeshis is going to change? Do you see any signs of that change starting now?
I know the Oregonian. Just this morning, I threw him out of my house.
No, I don't mean the paper. I mean Oregonians, people who live in the state. If there's a change in their attitude, if you see any improvement, perhaps, or if things are getting worse, how are you being perceived?
Oregonians. It's a rare breed. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. It's a rare breed.
The next thing they want to know is, what do you mean by that?
What do I mean by that? They haven't learned a lesson yet. They are persecuted. They have seen the persecution of KKK. They've seen the persecution of Mormons. They've seen persecution of American Indians, the blacks, the Chinese. They've seen persecution of all of the minority. They have participated probably in it. If they haven't, their forefathers have. And still, they continue to persecute. I was just reading article, and they were talking about amnesty, international amnesty. International amnesty, and they were talking about salmon something, I can't recall anymore, it was a few weeks back. And what shocked me, that even these people knew that Wasco County had the prominent, they are the prominent in persecution. Now, I know if my community has been accused of it, I would look at myself and say, maybe I should have a second look at it. And I would be active in it to show that, not just show, recognize that this is correct or incorrect, and make an active decision on it, conscious decision. Last case, they just this guy was persecuted in '84, Indian. I don't know if you saw a whole series of articles or just one article. I saw about 3 or 4 articles about similar. I don't know where I saw them. Geeta must have brought it to me, and then she briefed me on it, and then I was talking to Sita, and Sita knew about it more.
As a native Oregonian, I just find it difficult to perceive the people I know as being full of the kind of hatred you seem to see, the kind of racial and religious persecution.
I would say, just as a joke, and I'll do it for you, dress in red, put a mala in, and don't tell anyone that you're doing it as experiment. Go ahead and do it. There was a journalist or a writer I know had put black shoe polish on his skin and turned it black, and had done a very, very amazing story about how the blacks' persecution is there.
What will happen if I were to put on red
clothes? Well, I just say, go ahead and do it, and just act like a true Rajneeshi, which is take life as a joke, be happy, enjoy yourself, and do it for maybe 3 weeks and see what happens, and do a story. I'll give you a mala if you want. I'll give you a mala, and I'll even initiate you into it. And between you and me, there is agreement that it's just for your game.
Tell me what to expect. What would happen? What would happen on stores, on the street?
Go ahead and do it. Then go to Madras shops, go through county court in Wasco County, go as a Rajneeshi with your cameraman who is a non-Rajneeshi, try to film them, see what happens.
And the lesson there is?
And then you'll find out truly what Rajneeshis are facing. Go through your state officials, county officials, walk around as a Rajneeshi for a few weeks. I'll be curious to know what happens.
Okay. We've discussed that in other...
From the day one we have arrived. I know Laura Bentley may have received now, because I hear it now from you telling me. But I have received from day one I have arrived. And I haven't done no wrong to anybody.
In stores, for example, on the street, what do you hear? How are people treated?
Bad. Disgusting.
Simply?
Disgusting.
I walked through Madras with a journalist.
You as a cameraman.
Oh, we have camera people, believe me.
No, as a sannyasi to go with you. I mean, Harp is not afraid to go anywhere as a sannyasin.
Yeah.
And he can tolerate it and joke and take it as a play. But you'll be surprised. I mean, you just take a mala, dress in red clothes, the way Rajneesh is, and keep your hair up with bit, and it's fine. I'll give you all the innuendos of Rajneeshi behavior.
What are those going to be?
Actually, to be honest with, my wife is against you because her mother-in-law, who lives in Portland, hates you. And I said, why does she hate us? Has she sinned the rent? No. It's because her friend tell her all the things about you. I said, has her friends with it? No. And your wife just takes it from her mother? And she says, yes. And this is the only problem I and my wife has always had, that she listens to her mother a lot. Do you remember that fellow?
Yeah.
I don't know, it was you who had come with him, or
Cairo radio.
they stayed here for 3 days, and they did, not that I know of it.
And
but
one of the reasons we were told for that closure was that in the once.
And just recently, Marup was sort of pushed and pressured around with this,
Guardian Angel.
this
Sliwa.
weird people.
Now, Mr. Sliwa is not
I mean,
as
you
well as
can
we
look
could have,
at
but we
that
certainly
man and
tried.
figure it out. I mean, it doesn't take more than a few seconds to understand his entire being. He's so predictable.
You had an encounter with him. You talked to him for, I think, understand 10
I didn't
minutes?
have an encounter. He came here on 5th of November, if I haven't forgotten the date.
And we were such a contrast, because first there was us, and the screen was all red, and then they flashed that,
a nice portrait anyhow. Man in history.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. We'd have to have a different developer. Otherwise, they'd keep competitive prices with each other. But uh-oh. Don't tell me he's going to come up here and tell us.
Yeah, he is. At least he's not carrying a sidearm.
Don't you know?